You know how to use an ID selector to find a text field on a page and then use the val method on that text field to set the text. But what if you want to do something different? Let's say we create a button on the page with an ID of click me, and we want to write some code that will run when the user clicks on the click me button. Now if I go and get rid of the text field and we go back and refresh the page, there's the button, but if we click on it, nothing happens. What we need to do is create what's called an event handler. Now an event handler is a piece of code that runs when an event happens, like somebody clicking on the button. We need to add our event handler to the button element, so I'll go into the startup function. Now remember, this is where we put all of the code that will only run once the page is fully loaded. We need to make sure that the whole page, including the button, has been loaded before we try to do anything to the button itself. Now in here we'll use another ID selector. The ID of the button is click me, so we'll put hash click me. And once we've got that button, we can then call a method called click. This is the method that says what code to run when a user clicks the button. Inside there we'll pass in an anonymous function. Remember, in JavaScript most of the time if you're passing code around from one function to another, you do it with an anonymous function. So I'll just type in function with no parameters in this case, and some open and closing braces for it. And then inside here we need to write the code. Now let's just recap. This first line of code, the $brackets function, that means once the page is loaded, run the following. Okay, we need to make sure that the page is fully loaded so that we know that the button exists in the page. Once the page is loaded, the next line then says go and find a button with the ID of click me, and then call its click method to set its event handler. The event handler is just the piece of code that will run when a user clicks on the button. We'll just use the JavaScript alert function. If we go and refresh the page, now when we click on the button, we get the dialog box.